The next day gets dark.
Oh
Falls
my
apart.
goodness. First witness, Leary. I feel like you have to say her name like that.
Well, I apparently have trouble saying it. Welcome to Outlander Revisited, a series where we rewatch, review, and discuss episodes of the television series Outlander. Today I'm joined by Bryn and Elizabeth. My name is Kevin, and we're discussing Season 1, Episode 11, The Devil's Mark. The synopsis reads, Claire and Galis face charges of witchcraft. Ned Gowan comes to their defense, but witnesses, including Leary and Father Bain, testify against them, and they are found guilty. Before Jamie can fight his way out of the courtroom with his wife, Galis confesses and exonerates Claire. Claire recognizes from the smallpox vaccine scar on Galis's shoulder that she too is from the future. Galis is taken to be burned at the stake. When Jamie asks Claire about her scar, she tells him of her time travel. He believes her, takes her back to Crag-a-Dun, and wishes her well in returning to her own time. But Claire decides not to go back. That's the synopsis according to Wikipedia. What a great, another, I can't believe how good some of these.
This episode is so good. This episode is so good.
This episode has my favorite scene probably in the whole series, and it's we'll get there, but it's the scene after Jamie once again rescues Claire. So, but you know,
a lot of that goes on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Always very swashbuckly, James. Always, Jamie always jumping in there. The cold open of this is birds flying at the beach, a flock of birds, and I didn't catch the name of them, but they're called back later.
They are. Good catch.
Yeah.
Starling. You can always find them amongst more common birds.
Yeah, so it does start out in the thief's hole, and Galis is very convinced that Dougal will come and save them, and she's like really not concerned at all. She's just like very blasé. Yeah, I killed Arthur. Claire is pretty disgusted by her, and
I guess she didn't kill Dougal's wife.
Close to her.
Because she would have confessed it here.
She would have, because she's so blasé about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so one interesting thing that happens is when someone comes, I think they come and throw some bread on at them or something. But Claire jumps up and she tries to use her connection to the laird. She's like, I'm
from Castle Leoch. I'm married to James Fraser, nephew of the laird.
And I'm King Arthur.
Arthur, whatever.
Yeah, I hear this once a week. You know how many witches I deal with on a weekly basis?
But I think it's kind of interesting because it's another sort of moment where Claire has kind of accepted her role in this world, and now she's even trying to leverage it. I just thought it was kind of an interesting turn for her that she's now embracing and trying to benefit from.
I remember thinking at the time when Galis, is thinking that Dougal will come and save her, and I'm just like, oh yeah, he's not coming for you. He is not about that at all. I just remember thinking that Dougal's in this for Dougal, not for you. So
yeah, he's who knows how many, because he was trying to make moves on Claire.
Yeah,
he's got a girl in every one of these towns.
Yes, exactly. He's a player.
True.
Yeah.
But who does come to the rescue is Ned.
Yeah.
Ned.
Good old Ned.
And he's throwing around the law, you have to, witchcraft isn't illegal or something. Maybe you don't like English law, but maybe you still like Scottish law. And it's very, I don't know.
He played it well. He started with the one he didn't want, and he got we're doing Scottish law then.
All very Law and Order.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, you know, he says they're required to have a lawyer, and I volunteer. So, and there's kind of like rolling eyes, like, oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
They have a lawyer now.
And Claire is not a good witness in this whole thing.
No.
She is just like, who are you people?
Yeah, so if you've ever been in any kind of court proceeding, you're not supposed to say anything unless you are asked a direct question. Don't open your mouth. Like, and she's just spouting off as Claire does because she knows better than everybody.
Yeah,
But
so
the witnesses come up.
the first witness is the maid to Arthur and Galus.
Yeah, and she apparently like talks for hours, and then everyone's like really like, you know, enthralled by this, you know, story. She's seen her making potions and like blah blah blah. But then Ned kind of turns everything on its ear, and he's like, yeah, but you were looking for another job, weren't you?
Yeah.
You know.
Just an unhappy employee. And who would want to work in that house? That guy was farting all over the time, and it was just...
That
She
must
says-
have been a miserable job.
Yeah. She says that Galus sang unnatural songs. And I'm just wondering, now knowing where this goes, 1968, was she singing Beatles? What was...
Yeah. Rolling Stones.
Rolling
Yeah.
Stones, maybe? Yeah.
I can't get no.
Scandalous. Is the next one the mother?
No, there's some other random guy.
Oh, yeah.
no,
Who said...
maybe it is the mother. Yeah, it's the mother, I think. Talking about the baby who she left in the woods.
Mm-hmm. And this was kind of a shaky explanation by Ned that maybe because she had touched it that the changelings didn't come and take it, and that the real baby is still in the fairyland.
Yeah.
They seem to buy it because they want to believe that,
mean,
even the audience does.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's at first I was like, oh no, this is cruel. You're like blaming her for the baby, you know, dying. But then he kind of turns it and is like, but you can be comforted, you know. And I was like, oh, this is so sad.
Yeah.
This poor lady. But again, like, Claire just needs to shut up. She's like yelling about, I am a healer. Like, oh my God, be quiet. You're going to get yourself killed.
Yeah, and then this first day kind of seems like Claire could get off, but Galus won't, because then the person comes in who says that he witnessed Galus' eyes red and calling down the thunder and all sorts of, like, really theatrical stuff.
She flew. He says that she literally flew. And everyone in the like courtroom or the church or wherever they are is like,
soaking it up. Yep.
Like they just 100% are like, yeah, oh my God, this guy said she flew. Did you hear that? She flew. Like,
you have to think, for these people, this is like television for them. This is they only get out once a week to see like church. And this is the greatest story they've heard. And for weeks, they'll be talking about this story.
Years.
Yeah. Well, who knows how many times they burn a witch.
It's the 18th century Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's the first day. Ned passes along the water of life, which is whiskey, to keep her warm in the hole.
Oh, and he also drops a little knowledge that Colum is not supportive of her. Colum would be actually angry with Ned if he knew that he was there. And then you're just like, oh gosh, you know, you were really out here, you know, you're up the creek. You know, no one is it.
Yeah, like
Not
last
dead.
episode, he's cleaning house. He's like, I got, Jamie and Dougal were both corrupted by these women who had their own agendas, and I don't care if they disappear because I just want my house back in order.
Yeah.
I want to be in charge.
Yep. I think this is where Galus also starts to get pretty dark, because she's pretty sure she's gonna die at this point. She goes from being, oh, Dougal will save me, blah blah blah, to she's just kind of starts to freak out. But then you learn why she loves Dougal, what her connection to Dougal is, and she's a Jacobite. She's been stealing, but basically just been skimming money off the top of her husband's affairs.
And this is the second time I switched and go, okay, explains Galus. First, I thought, oh, there's not something weird about her. She's a witch. Then I thought, no, she's a Jacobite. Now this explains everything. But it doesn't. Keeps going.
Oh, yeah. But Claire also says that quote,
I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country.
Yeah.
Watch that again and watch Galus's face. There's a look. Yeah. There's a look that comes over her face. And, it's funny because on a second watch, I was like, that's the moment where she knows for sure that, she's been suspecting, I think, that Claire is from the future, but that moment, it just is
smoking
on
gun.
her face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to do that too. I like to watch key scenes several times and watch how each character reacts to what's happening in the scene, because your eyes tend to be drawn towards the speaker, but sometimes you get the really good information if you look at not the lead, but maybe the people that are reacting to them or are behind them or things like that. You get a lot of interesting, almost instant feedback from the other players in the scene, which I really enjoy that. And you're right, it was exactly a good pickup on that, because she's like, so yeah.
I do have
a light bulb moment, ping,
Yeah.
I do have just, in some weird way, I have such a connection to this quote. I might go on for a minute or two about this quote, if you'll let me.
Go for it.
Okay, so Claire is quoting Nathan Hale, who was a spy for George Washington just before the Battle of Long Island in the American Revolution. That's what the quote's most known from. And he was hung, and he said, "I regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." That's his last words. Right. And it was famous propaganda for the American Revolution. And that's what Galus is probably reacting to as well. Now, I don't know how I've stumbled upon this, but I know the history of this quote is actually that Nathan Hale didn't come up with this. He took this from a play that's called The Tragedy of Cato, which was very popular in the American Revolution. And the founding fathers often quoted it to each other. George Washington paid to have a reproduction of the play put on at Valley Forge to energize his troops. Benjamin Franklin has quoted it in correspondence. Benedict Arnold, Sir Patrick Henry's statement of "Give me liberty or give me death" is also attributed more to the play than actually him coming up with it. And the play was written in 1703. So if Claire were to say this to anybody except for Galus, it's possible that they would think she's stealing this from a popular play at the time.
Interesting.
The play itself is about a Roman senator who took up arms to fight against Caesar after he crossed the Rubicon. He's one of the most famous senators of the time besides Pompey, who gets name-checked in Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. So this play that it comes from is actually a prequel to the play of Julius Caesar, where Cato tries to defend the Republic and dies. Again, a rebellion and a lost cause, knowing that eventually Caesar will take over and tyrants will rule Rome once again, which is why the founding fathers love the play so much. And where this really connects is if you look on my YouTube channel or any of my social media, my avatar is a picture of a bust of Cato the Younger, who the play is about, and why I happen to know so much about this quote. So it all
That's
ties
so
in.
interesting. Well, that's so
And
interesting.
my last epilogue to this story is my favorite part that's left out of both the Cato play and Julius Caesar by Shakespeare, is that after Cato failed and lost his battle, he committed suicide rather than living in a world where Caesar ruled. His son and daughter were also in his army. His daughter was widowed in another battle with Caesar, and the son and daughter were pardoned by Caesar, allowed to return to Rome. The daughter's name is Marcia, and she's very young at the time. And when she returns to Rome, she meets a Roman senator who's very old, convinces that senator to leave his wife of many years and get married to her. And it's scandalous at the time because she's so young and he's so old. And that senator is named Brutus, Caesar's best friend and most famous assassin.
Yeah.
So Cato, in tangential way, gets his revenge in the end.
That is cool.
Yeah. So when that quote came up, I was like, "Whoa, this is too serendipitous that I was meant to watch this."
That's cool. But it kind of also alludes then, like, if there's some of this stuff, like I'm thinking about the title of the last episode, by the pricking of my thumbs, because that's from Macbeth.
Yeah.
It's said by one of the witches. And so I don't know, and like what Macbeth was written in the 1600s too. So like, these are things that people probably are familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many different.
Claire quotes Shakespeare in the previous episode. She tells the Duke of Sandringham.
You had to get your pound of flesh, didn't you?
From The Merchant of Venice? I'm not sure.
Yep.
Something like that. One of the comedies, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it is Merchant of Venice.
So she can quote Shakespeare and it will be topical.
Well, it'll be 150 years old by that point.
Yeah.
Actually.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting. Anyway, that was a cool rabbit hole to go down. Like, love it. Oh man, I do love though that I kind of like that they pulled something out of Macbeth, because of course Macbeth
Mm-hmm.
is in Scotland and now they're like being tried as witches, and they're like, there's a couple of like snide lines in here where it's like, well, if you
really are a witch, now'd be a perfect time to use your powers.
Aye. Same to you, my friend.
here to like use your powers. And I think that's when Claire starts talking about the starlings at Brighton Beach.
The starlings,
and that's where and how they move together, and that kind of becomes the theme of the second, like, I guess the second act of this episode, is
Mm-hmm.
that they need to figure out what they're doing together to try and
Mm-hmm.
escape this. But then
then
Galus says we're a small flock. Like it's just the two of us.
Yeah, and the other thing about just the witch trials is that a little bit of the witch trials themselves are a bit of an allegory for a patriarchy oppressing strong women and keeping any women in power. Both judges are men.
So, yeah, I mean, the witch, I think though that there's been all this witch imagery. Galus has embraced the idea that people think she might be a witch. But she had a husband who was a government official who was kind of shielding her from any consequences.
Yeah, I think she kind of gets off on the power trip a little bit of it. The people are maybe a little frightened of her, or wary of her, or whatever kind of respect she thinks she gets for.
And she was doing that ceremony in the woods.
Yes,
But
little druid dance.
Knowing that she did travel through time, it's not impossible to think that she has some sort of connection to these spirits.
Impossible. I mean, it is possible. So
I did ask my wife, every now and then I ask my wife to spoil something for me, and I was like, is time travel the only supernatural element in this show? Are there witches? Is there? She pretty much told me, no, time travel is it. That's the only one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can kind of navigate this a little bit.
Yeah.
So the next day gets dark.
Oh my goodness. First witness, Leary. I feel like you have to say her name like that.
Well, I apparently have trouble saying it.
And that love potion. I told you that love potion would come back to bite her too. And here it is, because she doesn't just say, she sold me a bad potion. She says, she took the potion herself, and that's why Jamie married her. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, oh, yeah. Because, why would he marry this English woman? It must be something nefarious and witchy happening here.
And Ned almost squeaks by this one a little bit by going, well, obviously, this woman they both these women have feelings for the same man. This is hearsay. But his power is diminishing with every witness.
Well, because the crowd is just getting so.
They've already built the pyre.
Riled up, yeah.
Yeah, the pyre is built outside. They're itching for. Let's throw a witch on this burner.
Father Bane.
Oh, Father
Bane. He knows what he's doing.
I love this actor. My favorite movie of all times is Notting Hill, and he's in that, and he has a really sweet, lovely, wonderful role in Notting Hill. So to see him play Father Bane was like, no, but he did it so well, though, so well. So.
Yeah. Oh, so at first I was very moved. I was like, oh my goodness, he's like.
Yes.
What's going on here, though?
Yeah, I thought it was almost like he was for Claire. And I'm like, maybe he's seen the light, the error of his ways. No.
He rope-a-doped the whole crowd.
Yes, he did. Reeled that in.
Yeah. And like I was saying, like, this is TV for them. The other aspect of their entertainment is seeing him. He is they go to see him every Sunday. So he knows how to get them to react.
That's right. He is a consummate performer. Yes, he is.
Oh my gosh. But when he gets back to his seat and he just like grins at Kalis, you're just like, oh. Oh my goodness. But you also see how Galis is like rolling her eyes through the entire proceeding. She's just like, okay.
This is BS. This is BS. I call BS on this. It's like,
So this is the first time that Galis, when he grins at her. Sorry, let me just start over. When Galis sees Father Bane like grinning at her, she just looks completely shocked, and I think she's got it driven home like this is bad. We're gonna die. And then that's when Ned asks for a recess, and he suggests, I can only save one of you. And I'm sorry, Galis, but everyone thinks you're a witch, and they've thought you're a witch for a really long time. So we're going to have to throw you under the bus to save Claire.
And really, Ned came there to save Claire in the first place.
Yeah, he did. He doesn't care about Galis.
Yeah. So
Nobody cares about Galus, really.
Poor, I mean, kind of poor Galus, but maybe not. Well,
she did
see
kill
how you feel
somebody.
later.
Yeah.
I know.
At least one person that we know of, yes.
We know of.
Oh my gosh.
That's when she drops. When she walks out of the
Going
room.
to a fucking barbecue.
We're
yeah,
going to a barbecue.
which is another thing. Like, do they have barbecues in Scotland?
That's where I was like, wait, now am I back to this she being a time traveler theory again?
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, but she also like stops and she's like, she's very like, Claire, why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, cut the BS. Why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
You've told me things. I know they're not true. What's going on? And then when she says, she goes, so you're not trying to change anything? And you're like, what? And then she gives up. She's like, it's all for nothing. I'm going to the barbecue. Like.
So it was a Galus thought she came back to change the revolution.
Yeah. I mean, so you didn't come back to change anything. And so you get the sense, well, if Galus, as we find out in the next 10 minutes, is a time traveler, maybe she came back to change something. This was all for like some sort of a purpose for her. She did this intentionally.
Yeah.
And Claire just like made a mistake. And
Yeah, Galus was on a mission, yeah.
Oh. I also had a thought, like, were all witches that were burned at the stake time travelers?
Ooh.
Can make a series out of this. Joan of Arc, the Salem witch trials. Those are the only people I know. So
throughout history.
Yeah, they come back and the verdict is reached. And when that verdict is dropped, Ned goes all out. Like, he pulls out a gun and goes, oh, well, words have failed me.
He's like, I'm trying to do it the right way. Shoot.
My backup plan here, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I knew he liked Claire, but this is kind of, he's in a courtroom.
Time for plan G, yeah.
Well, I think also because Claire didn't take her opportunity. Claire didn't take her opportunity, and now Ned's like, well, God, here we go. And he's ready though. He's ready to shoot people.
And he might know that Jamie's on the way, and maybe he's just trying to stall for time.
Well, it works because next thing you know, they're like, well, first they
whipping her,
start beating. Yeah, they start flogging Claire. There's a lot of flogging.
Before they tear her away from Galus says
1968.
Yes, 1968.
Which I'm assuming is the year she left.
Yeah.
Not year she was born.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I assumed too. But
that's the year that she traveled from. Yes.
My goodness. So here comes Jamie to save the day right after.
Oh yeah. Then
he's about to be outnumbered. Because he'd probably take a lot of people with him, but he's pretty outnumbered in this church. Mm-hmm. And then Galus is like, here I am, I confess, I've killed my husband, I bewitched Claire. And then she looks directly at, Claire and pulls down her sleeve and is like, this is the devil's mark, which is, another thing that people looked for in witch trials was a devil's mark. And if a woman had a mole or anything and this is obviously unnatural looking. So the whole courtroom just loses their minds and, it gets pretty wild, as it always does when Galus is around. She strips off her clothes.
Oh, she strips off her clothes, and then the men cover her back up because they don't want sympathy for her. Is that what's going on?
I feel like one of the guys is she's pregnant. Stop, she's pregnant. I feel like I heard that.
Yeah,
or she's with child, however they say it. But
one of the judges is screaming that, and then somebody
And the
covers
other
up
one
her
is screaming,
belly.
cover her up.
Yeah.
Because she screams out that she's like having the child of sake. I'm sorry. Galis is a little bit of an exhibitionist.
Yeah, she's having fun.
Yes.
She's like, if I'm going out, it's gonna. I mean, she's gonna
be
play this
epic.
role. Yeah, you all burn in hell.
Yeah.
I'll haunt your dreams. You'll never know where the gold's buried.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I believe that I'm probably significantly older than the two of you. Do either of you have smallpox vaccine scars?
I do not.
No, neither
Yeah.
do I.
See?
But I've seen them.
I
My
got
mother
mine.
did.
Yeah, I got mine in 1971. So, yeah, I remember being in first grade, and they called you all down to the gymnasium, lined you all up, and and they did like an assembly line. You get the first person, they'd swab you, and the second person, they'd stab you, and third person would hand you a lollipop. And you go back to your desk. And Dougie Johnson sat at the desk across from me. We're in a little cluster. And isn't this funny, the things you remember? I mean, this is first grade, 6 years old. And he had a bad reaction. And we had spaghetti and Kool-Aid for lunch. And he threw up all over our desk cluster. And in my head, because it was spaghetti and red Kool-Aid, it was blood, So he throws up blood all over our desks, I'm screaming bloody murder. My teacher comes over. Now this is 71, grabs me by the arms, starts shaking me, smacks me, and tells me to shut up. Oh my God.
The good old days.
So yeah, so whenever anybody talks about smallpox vaccine scars, I'm like, yeah, I got a story about that. So
yeah, it's an interesting marker of time. When you were born, where you were born.
If we return to this was great, by the way. We're coming up to some of my favorite scenes, of when. So you weren't here for the discussion of a previous episode, but when we were talking about it, and it's like that one where she fakes out at the beginning. And she's dreaming that she tells Mrs. Fitz she's from the future.
Yes, yeah, I love that scene.
Okay,
yeah.
So in that episode, I just really wanted her to be telling everybody that she's from the future and seeing their reactions.
Right.
So this is wish fulfillment.
Oh yeah.
For me,
oh, yeah.
because now she's telling somebody, and I get to see how they react. But so I just love this whole part.
She does it slowly. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at first he's just tending to her back and he's like, I have to know this one thing. You just have to tell me this one thing, Claire. Are you a witch? And then the way that she ends up dropping these little details. I'm sorry. She could not sound more like a witch.
Yeah, I know. I know. If you ever want to incriminate yourself, want to really go off the deep end there, and I don't think he really believes her. I mean, he does, but he's like, no, but no, this is actually my favorite scene. I love this scene. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So much happens in this episode, and then you get this whole end to it. It's incredible how much they can compress.
Yeah,
I know. I feel like this episode is 3 hours long, but it's not. It's an hour. I don't know. Just she very dramatically builds up to the whole.
I'm from the future.
I'm from the future.
Mm-hmm.
And his eyes get kind of big, then kind of narrow. And then he's like, yeah, I believe you. But tell me more.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
And then I kind of also this moment when he feels really ashamed. When he realizes when you ran, you were trying to get home to your husband, and then I beat you.
Yeah.
And he's just like feels so much guilt and he like shame. I think he feels shame right there. So, but then he says another really great line need to include.
Okay.
Oh, it would have been a good deal easier if you'd only been a witch.
Jamie always has a way of just cutting to the chase, you know?
So, and then when he asks her, this like makes me want to cry. When he says,
To go home.
"Are you ready to go home?" He means like home, and she doesn't realize it yet. And I'm like, oh, he means home. He loves her so much.
It's not clear how far away these standing stones are because they get back there pretty quick, but
I think the standing stones are like a mile from everything.
yeah.
You're right. It just, they always seem to be stumbling upon the stones. Like, oh yeah, by the way, they're right there. You know.
Did anybody else, so when they finally get there and he's like, is this it? And he just reaches out and touches the stone.
Yeah.
Did anybody else go, oh, okay, he's still there.
Yeah.
No, I didn't notice he even touched it.
He just reaches right out and touches it. And I freaked out. It was this moment of, no.
But
Oh,
Wait,
okay,
wait.
you're fine.
that's where I was wondering. I was like, do they have to do the druid dance beforehand? Does she have to pick the flower? Does it have to be on the equinox? What's the mysticism here?
What's the formula here? Yeah.
Maybe I have to listen to that song again.
Yeah, another great little moment though, where he's like, there's nothing here for you, but danger. You have to go. Another kind of fake out though, because for a second you think, because you hear the sound,
Mhm.
and you think
The
she's
bees
gonna.
and, yeah.
He wants one
She's
last
gonna
kiss,
go.
one last dance.
Gosh, it's so
Pulls
good.
her back.
Ugh, so good. It's a great episode.
Take me home to LetterBox.
Take me home to Lallybrook, and then he cries, and love, yay, the end.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm going to do is give away my Great Scott Award to the greatest Scotsman on every episode of Outlander. And Ned was a big contender in this one. Jamie as well for the rescue once again. But because of the sacrifice, I'm going to give it to Galus, even though she is a murderer. But, I mean,
Yeah.
so are half these people. Ned
This
killed a
is
guy, too.
Galus's episode. This is Galus's episode. I agree.
Yeah.
I knew in my heart I was no longer in the 20th century.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to see future episodes. A special thank you to all of my guests. And if you would like to be a guest yourself on a future episode, please leave a comment telling me what your favorite episode of the series is, and I will direct message you. Again, thank you for watching.